What's up, you guys? I am back with some tea for you today. Alright, so this tea is on none other than Marc Jerome Daly, Mr. Daly, and Kenya Moore and Marc Daly have my attention because, as I expressed in my most recent video, I no longer believe that they are legally married. I do not believe that the wedding ceremony they had in St. Lucia was a legal ceremony. And I'm putting on my investigative reporter hat and I'm doing a series of videos about them. This first video is about Marc Daly. It's about his first marriage, his ex-wife, his children, and his tax debt and his marriage to Kenya. So let's get into it. And let me say this is actually the second video I'm recording today because the first video with all the tea is in my membership. I already shared with my members. If you're a member of my channel, then you can get all the tea because there are certain things that I cannot share publicly. But you can join my private group. If you're on a computer, you can see the join button, or if you're not, if you're on your phone, if you open up the comments or the description box, there's a link to join my channel, and that's where we have our private conversations that I can't share publicly. But let's get into it. The first thing is that, in case you didn't know, some people do know, some people don't know, but in case you didn't know, this is not Marc Daly's first marriage. This is actually his second marriage. His first marriage was real, and I was able to dig up his marriage certificate. Now, this is a person named Marc Jerome Daly. Now, whether it's the same Marc Jerome Daly that married Kenya Moore, it's up to you. You make your own decision. But there was a Marc Jerome Daly, and in 1997, on Valentine's Day, the 14th of February 1997, he married his first wife. And this is the marriage record from the Florida Department of Health. And if you look up his public records, you can see that for some time, Marc Jerome Daly, a person named Marc Jerome Daly, lived in Florida, South Florida to be exact, Broward County to be even more exact, and he married a woman on Valentine's Day 1997. Now, from my research, he would have been 22 at the time of this marriage. So this was like a really young marriage, like young and innocent and not knowing what you're doing. There is a rumor that his first wife divorced him after 1 year. That is not true because I also found the divorce record for that first marriage. The divorce record indicates that on October 23rd, 2000, the woman, and I don't want to say her name here, but the woman that was married to Marc Daly divorced him after 3 years, almost 3 years of marriage, October 23rd, 2000. So they may have separated after 1 year, but legally they didn't divorce until 3 years after they initially got married. Now, from what I've read, he has one child with her. I haven't been able to verify that child's name, and it's really not important. It's not important that child's name or their age, but from what I have researched, that child is now an adult. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Marc's career. Some of you guys may know that he was a financial advisor / banker, but I want to talk a little bit about his career because I want you to understand his mindset. This is a very intelligent man, and Kenya is a very intelligent woman. And what we have here, in my opinion, is two very intelligent people who are both very stubborn. I believe the way they landed in the position that they're in now is being very intelligent and very stubborn. So as far as Marc's career, a website called LAILAH exclusively reported that Kenya Moore's husband, Marc Jerome Daly, is a former banker at Credit Suisse First Boston, New York, and he's also worked as a banker at Citigroup. Industry reports that they were able to obtain indicate that Marc Daly left his job as a senior analyst. An analyst, this is someone who analyzes risk. He left his job as a senior analyst in Credit Suisse's structured product area to join the New York offices of DBRS, Dominion Bond Rating Service. So this is someone who analyzes financial risk for a living. Reports suggest that Daly may have, before 2005, served at Credit Suisse's First Boston LLC as Vice President, Credit Risk Management. Then after exiting Credit Suisse, Daly headed to DBRS. There are no further reports available of Daly's position after Citibank, but after 8 years of having his license, Daly allegedly did not renew it on or around 2015, with Daly's last listed financial position as possibly Citibank in 2014. So the reason I wanted to talk to you about his career is because I wanted you to know that he analyzes financial risk for a living. He's a very intelligent person, especially when it comes to finances. Now, in 2010, if we roll it back a little bit, before he allegedly left his financial position, in 2010, he founded a company called FQ LLC. It sounds like FU, but it's FQ LLC, and it's a domestic limited liability company, and it's the company that he uses to manage his restaurant, SoCo. Now, how do I know he uses that to manage SoCo? Because the tax record, the tax record for SoCo has become a public record. It was published with the New York State Department of State Tax Warrant Notice System that FQ LLC, which was doing business as SoCo, owed a business tax debt of $97,017.64. A person named Marc J. Daly owed a personal tax debt of $20,464.74, and Marc J. Daly, individually and as responsible person of FQ LLC, owed a debt of $44,236.04. This is not unusual. This happens in business, so I don't think this is something to judge him by, but what I want to bring attention to is the dates that the debts were satisfied. The first debt to be satisfied was the personal debt for $20,464.74, and that was satisfied on February 1st, 2017. I hope you guys can see this. I had to put my watermark on it because sometimes people watch my videos and screen capture them and then upload them on their channel as original content instead of as reactions to my videos. So I do have my watermark on here, but I can tell you it says it was satisfied February 1st, 2017. And I think it's very interesting that on February 1st, 2017, Miss Kenya Moore was in New York. She had already met Marc, because she's married him in June 2017, so she had already met Marc, and she was in New York eating a waffle sundae at a New York restaurant. I think that's interesting, and I want you to be the judge. She tagged the restaurant as Cafeteria Restaurant, which is located in New York. I want you to be the judge, and I want you to use your common sense without making any exceptions, just using your common sense. Do you think Kenya Moore was in New York taking care of this tax business and this tax debt for Marc? Leave a comment and just let me know what you think so far. The other two debts, the one for $97,000 and the one for $44,000, were paid on May 31st, 2017. That's actually just 10 days before Kenya Moore and Marc Daly tied the knot in St. Lucia. I want to know if you think that this tax debt was Marc paying off his debts before he got legally married, or do you think it was Kenya paying off his debts before he got legally married? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. I'm going to reserve my opinion for now. Now, there's a scene on The Real Housewives of Atlanta where Kenya and Marc sit down with Cynthia and Mike and Candy and Todd, and Marc reveals that he doesn't believe in prenuptial agreements. He says basically either you're with me or you're not. He doesn't believe in prenuptial agreements, and Kenya says that he wouldn't even have the conversation about a prenup, and that's why they don't have a prenup. Now, I want to ask you this, and this goes back to his career. This is someone who assesses risk for a living. Would someone who assesses risk for a living not believe in prenups? Someone who has been married before and gotten divorced. Allegedly. This is all allegedly. We just ain't here joking. But someone who allegedly assesses risk for a living and has gotten divorced before. Does it make sense to you, using your common sense, does it make sense that that person wouldn't believe in prenups? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. It's my opinion that Marc does believe in prenups. If you follow his career and if you just look at his success in the finance industry and even in the restaurant industry, even though he had the tax debt, he found a way to pay it somehow. And so if you look at someone as successful as him and someone as successful as Kenya, Kenya is a self-made woman. She wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth. We know her struggles. We know what she was born into, and she built herself into the millionaire that she is now. So does it make sense to you that these two people would tie the knot without a prenup? Does it make sense? In my opinion, it doesn't. I believe that Marc Daly didn't want to be tied to Kenya, and there was a source who spoke to Radar Online. A source close to Marc said that it was true that he did help Kenya Moore clean up her hair care company, which he said was a little messy. And the source also said he didn't want to be tied to her. That's why he didn't want to get married on. And then they left out a word. It says she wanted a prenup and he did not. I think he didn't want to get tied to her on paper because he's a risk analyst and he saw it as a risk. This is my personal opinion. And so I believe he told her he didn't believe in prenups as leverage because he knows that Kenya is no fool and she's not going to marry him without a prenup. So he's using her non-negotiable and he's making up a non-negotiable as an excuse to not marry her on paper and be tied to her on paper, in my opinion. So I believe that's how we land in St. Lucia, where they're having this ceremony, this wedding ceremony where they're fist bumping. I believe they have an agreement, and the agreement is to make each other's dreams come true. I believe Kenya is making his dream of a restaurateur come true by paying off his tax debt. Again, this is my opinion. And I believe he's making her dream of being a wife and a mother come true by marrying her and fathering her child. So this video is not to drag Kenya, it's not to drag Marc, it's to give my opinion on what I see in black and white. When I look at these names in black and white, I do believe these are the same people that we see on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Two intelligent people, two stubborn people who have made an agreement out of love to help each other's dreams come true, but at the same time, I do not believe that they are legally tied to each other. I just don't. But leave a comment and let me know what you think. As always, thanks for watching.